Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you having a great weekend. Hope all of you having a great Saturday. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. Man, oh man, we got to talk about a huge, and I'm talking about a huge problem that college football is currently dealing with. And I know, trust me, I get it. We say from time to time on the channel, oh yeah, this is really bad for the game, but I'm telling you, this actually is. If things continue to trend this way, this is not my opinion, this is a cold hard fact. The sport of college football will continue to lose money. And when the sport itself loses money, guess who then loses money? The programs, your favorite teams. But outside of the money situation, here's the worst part about all this, if you gotta ask me. It's affecting the fans, people like me and you. And by the way, we're not doing no intro, none of that. I don't got time to waste. I got an extremely busy day on my hands like many of you. We're getting straight into this. So about roughly a week and a half ago, I started having these thoughts to myself. I was like, there is no coverage, there is no hype around this national championship whatsoever. There was more hype in week one. There was more hype for the Michigan-Ohio State game and rival weekend than the freaking national championship. What's the word I'm looking for here? There's a certain word. Oh yeah, anticipation. There wasn't a lot of anticipation building up into this game. Yet again, let me remind you, those are my thoughts heading into this championship game, and we cover this stuff on a daily basis. But I kept telling myself, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one who feels like it's just not as hype as normal. Well, then a few days before the national championship game, I had lunch with some of my buddies. And I didn't even bring it up. Both of them brought it up, and that's when I knew, oh crap, it's not just me. There's many others that feel the same way. And one of them used a great word that I'm going to use again here because I think it sums it up the best for a bunch of college football fans out there. He stated, and I quote, "I've just disengaged." My friend also stated that he feels like and he believes the season has been dragged out way too long. And then ironically enough, I guess it's weird how the universe works, I then saw some other people on Twitter saying the same things that I was thinking and some of my buddies were saying at lunch. And by the way, before some of you nerds, I'm talking to you, Bobby and Timothy, run to the comment section and say, well, Matt, that's because you're in the Southeast, and of course Southeast fans aren't going to be too excited for a Notre Dame Ohio State championship. Shut up, nerd. I already got a rebuttal for you. One of my buddies at lunch was a Notre Dame fan. His dang team was in the national freaking championship, and he was talking about how there was no hype around the game, and he feels like the season has been dragged out way too long. So you don't even have an argument there. Fast forward time into the national championship itself, and kind of like some people were thinking, yeah, it happened. The views, they were down big time. These are not my words. This is coming from an article I'm looking at right here. CFP National Championship delivers a lackluster audience in first year of expansion. And one of the tweets that got a couple million views stated 4 explanations, and the first one's the only one I'm going to show you. Football fatigue. So y'all are starting to recognize the pattern here, right? Let's continue along. As you can see right here for yourself, the college football playoff national championship between the Little Bro Ohio State versus Notre Dame averaged 22.1 million viewers. That is down from last year's game, which was down from the previous year's 3 million plus. Last year's championship game, which had 25 million viewers, that is around average. I said it was down compared to normal, but here's another fun fact for you. The Alabama-Michigan semifinal game last year, it had nearly 28 million viewers. But the point is, and you get where I'm going at with this, 22 million for the national freaking championship, not good. One of the worst ever. Like I just said, 25 million, that's about average. But here's what makes that 22 million even worse than what it actually seems. The game of college football is at an all-time high when it comes to viewership, and it expanded so much this year. You got to think about it. Coach Prime, he was in college football this year. He brought in so many new viewers. And when you look at the comments, you got everybody saying the same thing. I think the season is wearing people out. Here's an interesting take. Because it was the least meaningful championship in history, 2 mid-teams that lost at home to unranked teams, neither team deserved to be playing for a championship. You can't really disagree with that too much. I'm not trying to take anything away from Ohio State, but we all know this. It didn't really feel like a real deal serious championship season. There's a difference. They were a championship team, but it didn't feel like a championship season just due to the fact you lost 2 games in the regular season and you finished 4th. Let me repeat that. 4th in your conference. I want you to think about how crazy that is. A 4th place team in the conference won the national friggin' championship. Also, lost to the rivals at home. To me, at least, I know a lot of you aren't going to like this, but it is what it is. I got to speak my honest opinion and truth. It felt like you had 2 teams that weren't worthy of a national championship playing and competing for a national championship. It's just so weird to think about Ohio State can't get over the hump of beating their rival, who wasn't even good this year. And on the other side, you got to think about this. Notre Dame, They have one of the worst losses in college football history, and they were in the championship? Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying these guys didn't earn their way there, because that's not even up for argument or debate. They earned their way there. Congratulations. I've already congratulated both of them. I'll give you another good example. When we was all debating and talking about who's going to get that final spot, is it going to be SMU, Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina? I've said it since day one. I'm going to say it again here. Alabama did not deserve to be in this playoff. If I were to put any team in, it would have been South Carolina. But here's the cold, harsh truth. Neither SMU, Ole Miss, South Carolina, or Alabama, all four of those teams up for a last spot, and you can throw Miami in there as well, none of them deserve to get in this playoff. Same thing can be said for Indiana. They didn't even win a top 25 game this year. And truth of the matter is, once you get past the top 5 or top 6 or top 7 teams, 8 through 12, they're just going to be filler teams. Here's where I'm going at with this argument. The longer something is, the more of it you have, the less important and the less valuable it becomes. A good example is this is Major League Baseball and the NBA. They're facing a huge dilemma, which we're not an NBA or Major League Baseball channel. I don't really care about those sports too much, but I'll talk about them a little bit here. The MLB and NBA face a dilemma of, hey, there's so many freaking games in the regular season. Why should I, as a fan, care about game number 77? Truth of the matter is, you don't. You only care about the postseason. And I'll give you the perspective of any and every college football fan the past 10 to 15 years. Before the 4-team playoff, which started, I can't believe this was 11 years ago, in 2014, we had the BCS era. And I remember as an Alabama fan how important every single game was. If you lose one game, you might not make it. A great example is the year before the 14 playoff. It was 1 year late. In 2013, Alabama's undefeated. Heading into Jordan-Hare Stadium, they lose on the kick 6. That was, till this day, in my humble opinion, the best Alabama team of all time, and they have nothing to show for it. That team dominated everybody. Unfortunately, they didn't have a kicker, and you know what happened. Auburn wins the game. But the reason I bring that up is because of this right here. Alabama was 11-0 heading into that game, ranked number 1 in the nation, and they still had to win that game against Auburn to make the national championship, or to play in the SEC championship, then make the national championship. You get what I'm saying? But my point is in bringing that up is I remember it like it was yesterday. Every single game that season, the year before, the year before, the year before, it felt like a playoff game. It did. You had to win dang near every single game if you want to play a national championship. Maybe you could lose one and sneak in, but that's just a maybe. Alabama snuck into the 2011 national championship against LSU, and they had to have like 4 teams lose on the final weekend. Shout out to Oklahoma State, and it actually happened. But now with the 12-team playoff, that feeling's gone. I remember as a Bama fan, we lost to Tennessee this year. I was like, whatever. It's not like, of course I hate to lose, period, the end, but not a big deal. As long as we win out, we'll still get in the 12-team playoff. And that's a terrible mentality to have, and it low-key is ruining the game. Because what's happening is your big-time rival games like the Iron Bowl and the game with Michigan and Little Bro, they are slowly but surely losing their value. And this year, as much as I hate to say it, it had zero value whatsoever because Ohio State lost the game and still won a national championship. Think about that. From that aspect, I think college football is hurting a little bit. But let's go back to this, and I've seen a lot of people bring this up. No, I haven't forgot about it. It was on the same day, the national championship, as inauguration. Now, did the inauguration affect me? Absolutely not, and I don't think it affected many people. However, let's just say you're a SEC or a casual college football fan, and you don't like Ohio State, you don't like Notre Dame, you have no horse in the race, yeah, maybe you decided to tune into the inauguration over college football. That probably happened. But all in all, I think the biggest thing about all of this, guys, and let me know your thoughts down below, is I think most people got disengaged. And I'll be honest with you, even I did a little bit because I remember being way more excited to do the Ohio State-Michigan preview and previews in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7 compared to the national championship preview. Let me address this though, and this is the final thing we're going to say before we end off the video. For me personally, and this is just me, did I think the season was too long? Did I feel like it got dragged out a little bit more than it should have? Absolutely not. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. I'm the more the merrier type of person. If we could have a 68-team tournament, playoff bracket like they do in college basketball, I'd be a fan of that. I love college football. This isn't some shocking news, and I'd be willing to bet 98% of you're a diehard like myself. You love the game, can't get enough of it, but you have to understand and realize most people out here, they don't love it. They just kind of like it, or they really like it. I thought the 12-team playoff was super interesting, fascinating, and all in all, entertaining this year. Does that mean it's the best format? Is it the best thing for college football? Absolutely not. I'm just saying it was entertaining. And I think we got to throw this in there as well. Notre Dame, they're just a boring team to watch. There's many more things I can say, but I don't want to overreact because We don't have a large enough sample size. It's only been 1 year. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But